The note on the passenger seat would haunt Detective Olivia Hart for months. It was a Tuesday morning in San Francisco when David Reeves' black Tesla was discovered parked at the Golden Gate Bridge overlook. Empty. Driver's door hanging open like a broken promise. Fog rolling in slow and thick, swallowing the skyline. Officer Bradley found the paper first. A single page, written in careful script. I can't live with what I've done. The money is gone. Everything is gone. I'm sorry, Victoria. I love you. The signature looked perfectly like David Reeves' handwriting. Almost too perfectly. Victoria Reeves received the call at 8:47 in the morning. She was in her Pacific Heights mansion, still in silk pajamas, when Officer Bradley delivered the news that would change everything. Mrs. Reeves, I'm sorry to inform you that we believe your husband may have taken his own life. Victoria's scream echoed through the marble foyer. She collapsed against the Italian leather sofa, her manicured hands covering her face. Tears streamed between her fingers as she rocked back and forth. No, she whispered. David wouldn't. He promised he would never leave me. The house felt too big around her grief. 4,200 square feet of silence and expensive emptiness. But what Victoria didn't know was that David had been planning his escape for weeks. David Reeves was the founder of CloudZing Technologies. At 38, he was worth over $50 million on paper. Private jets, vacation homes, a wife 20 years younger who wore diamonds like other women wore wedding rings. But paper fortunes could disappear faster than morning fog. And San Francisco fog was very, very thick. Detective Olivia Hart arrived at the Reeves mansion 2 hours later. Her red blazer stood out against the pristine white interior like a warning sign. 15 years investigating Bay Area crimes had taught her that money didn't prevent tragedy. Sometimes it caused it. Detective Marcus Cole followed close behind. His blue shirt was already wrinkled from the morning interviews. 3 other potential suicides this month. All wealthy. All with financial problems. All with wives who inherited everything. Mrs. Reeves, Olivia said gently. I know this is difficult, but we need to ask some questions. Victoria sat on the edge of a chair that cost more than most people's cars. Her blonde hair was perfectly styled despite her tears. Even in grief, she looked like she belonged in magazines. I don't understand, Victoria whispered. David was fine yesterday. We had dinner together. We talked about our vacation to Tuscany next month. Marcus opened his notebook. When did you last see your husband? Last night around 10 o'clock. He said he needed to work late in his home office. I went to bed early because I had a spa appointment this morning. Olivia studied Victoria's face. Genuine shock was hard to fake, but Victoria's reactions felt rehearsed, like lines from a play she practiced too many times. Something about her grief felt performed. Were you aware of any financial difficulties? Olivia asked. Victoria's eyes widened. Financial difficulties. David's worth over $50 million. Marcus exchanged a glance with Olivia. Net worth and liquid assets were very different things in Silicon Valley. We'll need to examine his office, Marcus said. And his computer files? Victoria nodded quickly. Too quickly. Of course, whatever you need. I just want to understand why he would do this. David's home office was a temple to success. Awards lined the walls. Photos with tech celebrities. Screenshots of CloudZing's IPO announcement. But the desk was too clean. No scattered papers. No coffee rings. No evidence that anyone had actually worked there recently. Marcus powered up the computer while Olivia examined handwriting samples tucked into a drawer. Signature cards. Birthday notes to Victoria. Business documents signed with David's distinctive flourish. Olivia compared the signature from the bridge page to the real ones. Something bothered her about the letter formations. The pressure was wrong. David's authentic signature had bold, confident strokes. The bridge page looked careful, practiced, like someone had traced it multiple times. Olivia, Marcus called from the computer. Look at this. CloudZing's financial records filled the screen, and they were devastating. The company was hemorrhaging money. Bad investments in cryptocurrency. Failed product launches. Lawsuits from former employees. David Reeves wasn't worth $50 million. He was in debt for $20 million. Gets worse. Marcus said grimly. Look at his gambling losses from last month alone. Casino charges from Las Vegas totes. Online poker deposits. Sports betting accounts. $3 million lost in 30 days. Then Marcus found something that changed everything. Olivia, he wasn't just gambling. He was moving money. Large transfers offshore. Look at these dates. Transfers had started 6 months ago. Small amounts at first. Then larger sums. A quiet trail, building to a scream. David had been planning something. Olivia leaned closer. He was bleeding money publicly, but saving it privately. Or hiding it, Marcus said. From creditors, from the board, from his wife, and from whoever might stop him, Olivia said. Marcus opened another folder. Emails labeled with harmless names. Travel confirmations. Account setup instructions. A list of apps for burner numbers. David hadn't been spiraling. He'd been preparing. Where's the life insurance policy? Olivia asked. Marcus found it quickly. $5 million, payable to Victoria Reeves. But the clause tightened Olivia's throat. No payout for self-inflicted death in the first 2 years of the policy. The policy was 18 months old. If David did it, Olivia said slowly, Victoria gets nothing. Marcus looked up from the screen. But if he died accidentally? They stared at each other as the pieces began shifting. The investigation team searched the bay for 3 days. Coast Guard boats, divers, helicopters. Nothing. Bodies didn't always surface in San Francisco Bay, especially in cold season currents. But the search coordinator didn't like the emptiness. Most jumpers are found within 72 hours, he told Olivia. There should be something by now. Olivia stood on the walkway, looking down at water that swallowed light. Fog pressed close, as if it wanted to keep secrets. No witness could confirm David had been on foot. No video clearly showed him climbing the rail. Just a parked Tesla. A page that told a neat story. And the disappearance that felt too clean. Back at the station, Marcus called with news that shattered the narrative. David's alive, he said, voice tight. Credit card charges in Reno. Gas station camera shows him driving a rental car. Olivia felt the case flip in her hands. That means the bridge page wasn't a goodbye, she said. It was a distraction. And whoever planted it wanted us staring into the bay, Marcus replied, while he got on the road. Olivia didn't celebrate. She felt the danger grow. She called the handwriting expert anyway, because the chase meant nothing without the truth. Janet Morrison met her at the lab. Olivia placed the evidence bag on the table. Inside, under plastic, the ink looked even colder than it had on the bridge. Janet studied the strokes under magnification, then compared them to David's authentic samples. Her eyes narrowed, not in surprise, but in certainty. This isn't his handwriting, she said. Olivia's chest tightened. How sure? Janet tapped the plastic lightly. Look at the hesitations, the starts and stops, the way the pen pressure climbs and then backs off. A real last message is messy. This page is controlled. Someone wanted it to look emotional, but they were thinking too hard. She held up the magnified image. See this curve here? That's a person drawing a signature, not writing it. Olivia stared the lie that had been left behind. The note on the passenger seat wasn't just evidence. It was a mask. And whoever wore it had been close enough to know David's voice. Back at the station, Marcus mapped the purchases. Reno, Sacramento, Modesto, then south. He's following a route, Marcus said. Not improvising. Olivia requested a background packet on Victoria's circle. Assistants, stylists, security, house staff, and one name kept resurfacing, tied to her schedule with almost military consistency. Tommy Castellano, personal trainer. Marcus pulled Tommy's file. Former college athlete, clean record, works at an elite gym, high-end clients. Olivia didn't look at the file first. She looked at the mansion's security logs. Tommy entered through the side gate most mornings, but on 3 nights in the past month, he entered after midnight. On those same nights, David's office lights were on until dawn. Olivia felt a slow, ugly clarity. She pulled the phone dump warrant from Victoria's devices. The messages weren't explicit. They were coded, careful, but the timing was loud. Tommy, late at night. Victoria, awake. David, locked in his office. A message from Victoria read, "He's packing again." Tommy replied, "Then we move first." Another message later, shorter. "You promised," Tommy wrote. "You said he'd never come back." Olivia sat back, eyes hard. Tommy wasn't just a lover. He was muscle. He was logistics. He was the person who would open a door, carry a bag, hold a secret. Maybe he didn't know every detail, but he knew enough to fear a return. Olivia handed Marcus the printout. "He's in this deeper than we thought." Marcus read it once, then again. Oh, she made him think he was. "That's the thing about Victoria," Olivia said quietly. "She doesn't need partners. She needs tools." Victoria's past didn't show up in a neat paragraph. It showed up in little tells. A childhood photo in the mansion hallway that didn't match the decor. A cheap plastic bracelet tucked in her jewelry drawer like a relic. A cracked thumbnail she never let the manicurist fix because it reminded her of something. Olivia found the bracelet during the warrant search. It was from a county fair in the Central Valley. Faded letters. A date. A price. $1. She found a folded eviction notice in the back of a memory box. Not for David. For Victoria's mother, years ago. Olivia could picture it without effort. A girl learning early that safety was temporary. A girl learning that promises didn't pay bills. A girl learning how to smile while her stomach tightened. That wasn't an excuse. It was a blueprint, and David had mistaken it for charm. They traced David's credit card to a motel in Fresno. The Sunset Inn, $49 a night. The kind of place where people disappeared and nobody asked why. Olivia and Marcus didn't rush the approach. They parked down the block, watched the entrance, watched the lot. A man like David, on the run, would be jumpy. A woman like Victoria, hunting, would be patient. A black SUV rolled past the motel once. Then again. Slow, B. Come on, me. Too slow. Olivia leaned forward. "That's her." Marcus tensed. "How do you know?" "She's circling," Olivia said. "She's not looking for him. She's confirming he's there." They moved. David's rental car sat in the lot. Room 212. They climbed the concrete stairs, but this time Olivia didn't feel adrenaline. She felt a clock. Marcus knocked. "David Reeves. Police. Open the door." The door opened slowly. David looked like a man who had been running for days. Unshaven. Exhausted. Eyes constantly moving like a trapped animal. "How did you find me?" he asked. "Credit cards," Olivia said. "We need to talk." David let them inside. The curtains were half drawn. A cheap fan rattled. "I know why you're here," he said. "Victoria called you. She's probably crying, playing the grieving widow." Marcus shut the door. "Tell us about the bridge page." David blinked. "What page?" Olivia showed him the photograph. David stared at it for a long moment. "I didn't write that," he said quietly. "But I know who did." His voice cracked on the last word. David had discovered Victoria's affair with Tommy 6 months ago. But instead of confronting them, he started planning his escape. The offshore accounts. The staged disappearance. A new identity. "I was going to vanish," David said. "Let her think I was gone. Start over somewhere far away." Marcus's voice hardened. "And the 20 million you move?" David flinched. Clouds Inc. was collapsing. The board would have burned me alive. Creditors would have taken everything. I told myself I was saving what I could. Olivia watched him. "But she found out." David nodded, eyes wet with fear. "She found the transfers, and she understood what they meant. That I was leaving her behind with humiliation. That everyone would blame her for not seeing it." Olivia held his gaze. "So, what did she want?" David swallowed. "The offshore money. That was the price, not the policy. The money I hid." A faint sound outside. A shoe scraping concrete. Olivia lifted a hand. Marcus froze. Then the hallway light outside the door flickered as if someone passed in front of it. Victoria was close. Olivia lowered her voice. David, did Tommy help her? David hesitated, and that hesitation was an answer. I think he helped her find the car, David whispered. I think he drove behind her. I think he believed she'd take him with her when it was done. Marcus's jaw tightened. And did she? David gave a humorless laugh. Victoria doesn't take anyone with her. She takes what she wants. The motel room window exploded inward. Glass scattered across the floor as a figure in black rolled through the opening. Victoria Reeves rose smoothly, gun in hand, eyes steady. Hello, Dave, she said. Time to really die. Marcus reached for his weapon, but Victoria was faster. Don't, she warned. I've got nothing left to lose. Olivia kept her hands visible. Victoria put the gun down. Victoria's smile was thin. Detective Hart, I hoped you'd be here. Witnesses make stories easier. Olivia felt it. Victoria wasn't panicking. She was scripting. My husband stole $20 million and tried to fake his death, Victoria said. And now he's cornered in a cheap motel room with 2 armed detectives. What do you think a jury will hear? David edged back, breathing fast. Victoria's eyes didn't soften. You thought you could disappear, she said to him. You thought you could erase me. Olivia's mind moved fast. Except for one problem. We know you forged the bridge page. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Prove it. Marcus shifted his weight. Handwriting analysis already did. Victoria shrugged. Then I'll say David forced me, that he threatened me, poor abused wife, terrified for her life. She lifted the gun slightly, not aiming yet. Testing. Pushing. You thought of everything, Olivia said. I had months, Victoria replied. And Tommy had a strong arm until he started asking questions. Olivia's eyes sharpened. Where's Tommy? Victoria's smile widened. Not here. That answer hit like cold water. Tommy wasn't a partner. He was a loose end. David took a step toward the bathroom. Victoria snapped the barrel toward him. Don't move. That was the moment Marcus lunged. The gun fired. The bullet shattered the bathroom mirror. Marcus slammed Victoria into the cart. Olivia kicked the weapon away. Victoria fought, wild and furious, but Marcus pinned her. When the cuffs clicked shut, Victoria's scream turned into rage. He stole everything, she shrieked. He's going to leave me with nothing. Olivia hauled her up. Victoria Reeves, you're under arrest for attempted murder, forgery, and conspiracy to commit fraud. David sagged against the wall, shaking. But he wasn't the victim. The offshore money belonged to creditors. His staged disappearance was a crime. His lies were financial wreckage. He looked at Olivia like a man begging for mercy. He did not receive it. He was arrested too. The trial lasted 4 months. Victoria was sentenced to 25 years. David got 15. Tommy Castellano was never charged. There wasn't enough to prove intent beyond the messages. But Olivia didn't stop looking. 2 weeks after the sentencing, she got a call from a hospital in Stock. A man had checked in under a fake name with a broken wrist and a bruised throat. He claimed he'd fallen, but the nurse said his eyes kept tracking the door as if he expected someone to come finish the job. Olivia arrived and found Tommy staring at the TV, watching Victoria's sentencing replay. He looked smaller than he did in photos. Less like muscle, more like regret. When he saw Olivia, his throat bobbed. She told me he'd never come back, Tommy whispered. She told me it was already done. Olivia's voice stayed calm. What did you do? Tommy swallowed. I drove. That's it. I drove behind her. I didn't go to the bridge. I didn't touch the page. I swear. Olivia watched his hands shake. Then why are you here? Tommy's eyes filled not with love, but with fear. Because when I asked where my cut was, she smiled. And then her bodyguard grabbed me. And then I woke up like this. Olivia felt the last loose thread tighten into something solid. Victoria hadn't just planned to remove David. She had planned to remove anyone who could ever contradict her. Tommy was alive because he survived an attempt that was meant to look accidental. A fall. A mugging. A mistake. Same pattern. Tot. Different target. Months later, Olivia stood in the evidence room staring at the file. The note on the passenger seat was sealed in plastic, labeled, and locked away. But the case stayed with her. Not because of the crimes, because of what it revealed about love when it lived inside a system built on money. Victoria had learned early that safety was temporary. David had learned early that rules were negotiable. They met in the middle and called it romance. Olivia kept seeing Victoria's calm in that motel room. Not the gun. The calm. Well, the way she stepped through shattered glass like she'd rehearsed it 1,000 times. Or was it that she had loved what he represented, and the moment he tried to take it away, she simply did what she had always done to survive? And the darker question, the one Olivia couldn't label. If David had been honest years ago, if he had trusted her with fear instead of hiding behind power, would Victoria have become this? Or was she always capable of it, waiting for the right excuse? The file closed with a soft sound. But the question didn't. This story is based on fictional events. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. The characters, plot, and situations described are products of creative imagination intended for entertainment purposes only.